Yes, guys, what's going on? Adam McKola TV. This is the Aftermath. We are live, and it's the Aftermath show to Brighton 3, Manchester United 2. I am joined by Dean. He's by my side again for another live video. This is kind of a little bit of a debate as well. The title to this video is What is Going Wrong at Manchester United? And I think we'll talk about the game today as well, but there are various other issues at the club at the moment which may be contributing to the things that we're seeing going on and off the pitch at the minute. First things first though, Dean, how you doing? How was your weekend? All good?
It's just a flat weekend, isn't it? Like, obviously, everything was kind of okay up until obviously Sunday afternoon, where I'm more positive going into the game, thinking obviously we're gonna just start building momentum, and then obviously we just capitulated real quickly and conceded real quickly, and just didn't really look like anything that I wanted to see in terms of football, and it just kind of put a sour end to the weekend and start to the week, really.
It was a sour end to the week, and it's crazy that we feel like this just 2 games into the season, and I think you can always accept an early defeat in a season, but I think it's the manner of the defeat and the mood amongst the camp, it seems, especially amongst the fans anyway, that is meaning to bigger debate such as this. Because it's not, or is it? Some of you guys may just think it was just a bad day at the office, and if you think that, let us know in the comments, and I'll be reading as many of those out as possible. But it doesn't feel like it was just a bad day at the office.
Yeah,
and that's a worrying thing.
Yeah, especially with the atmosphere that's kind of portrayed in the media. Obviously, there's a lot of unrest, etc. So obviously, I'm always thinking like if we can get a positive result, it kind of quashes that. And it's like it's kind of just fed into it in terms of the manner our display was awful. Like we didn't even really. I was thinking when we're down at half time, we're gonna come all at them. Nothing happened. And so I'm thinking like, do the players know we're losing? Like I don't know. Like are we playing for we just cool with that or what? Like, and it just baffled me. And it's again like. Obviously, there was a lot of attacking players on the pitch, and it's just we look awful. We don't look like we've got a clue when we've got the ball moving forward, to be honest. And I think that's again. I said it in the summer in regards to our team. As bad as our defense is, obviously we conceded 3 goals, but the fact that we didn't even look like we're gonna score, I think that's the main thing we need to address. The smaller these Brighton and that. Come on, like you know what I'm saying, like. If we can't break them down, how are we expecting to break down City, Chelsea, Arsenal? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think,
and we never really had, especially in the second half, where you think, all right, we've had a bad start to the game. Defensively, there's been errors. We've conceded 2 goals. Now let's put in some pressure on. Let's go after these guys, especially in the second half. We saw when Romelu Lukaku got a goal that there was unrest in their defence when we got the ball in the final third, and we just didn't ever push for it. And I think if we got a goal between the 45th and 60th minute, 3-2, it's a different story. We're potentially going to run out winners, and you never know what that can do for your momentum and the kind of momentum you can build from that. But there was never any point in the game that I thought we're going to get back in this. The penalty came too late, and it was really sad to see at this stage in the season that Manchester United played like that. And the problem for me is, look, when you break down the performance, you can look at players' mistakes. Bailly had a very bad game, his worst game in the United shirt. Lindelof wasn't great either. Ashley Young was leaving so much space in between him and Eric Bailly. It was awful. We already know Ashley Young shouldn't be a right back, but we're looking at Bailly and Lindelof, and at least I was hoping personally they were going to be the 2 to step forward. They still could do that, but after a performance like that, like you said earlier, if they're dropped, you wouldn't be surprised, and I agree with that. Then you're looking at Luke Shaw. I don't think he had the worst game, to be totally honest with you, but the defence as a unit was not good enough. Even David De Gea was making mistakes, and it was just real bad. I just can't get it. And you look at the team going forward as well. You mentioned we don't look like we have a clue. That isn't the first time. So what are we doing in training? I remember Specs once said about Arsenal, they don't train, they just turn up to matches. And that's how we look at the moment.
Yeah, obviously in defence of that, obviously we haven't been long back in pre-season.
But it's been 2 years.
Yeah, but again, I just don't. I just think we got round peg square holes, and it's like for example, I don't think Shaw had that bad a game, but it's like when he's on the left wing, there's not an overlap for him, or it's just him, and it's like he's up against a wing back and a full back, and it's like, so you're expecting him to just get past him or put in some worldy cross, and then like it's only Lukaku in a box, and he's good in the air at times, but I don't think personally. I think when he's challenged, I don't think he wins the ball enough in the air for me. So I don't think crossing's the best answer. And then it's like the intricate play, or like our pass was just awful. Like I seen some of the.
You've got to work on these things, surely.
But a lot of that's individual players, isn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying? If when Pogba's passing the ball to like the passing the ball out for a throw in, you know what I'm saying? Like Josie can't control that. I don't know, man. I think, like I say, as bad as we were defensively, I think them things can kind of happen in a game of football. Like obviously. Lindelof for me, you shouldn't get like Murray's goal was good. It's a class finish, proper class finish on it. But it's like simple movement. You're just getting done by some simple movement. You know what I'm saying? Like Bailly for the penalties are absolutely ridiculous.
So bad.
It's like, brother, why are you even diving there?
Just
you know what I'm saying? Like you take your chance. You got the hair in goal. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I take my chances.
Or just pressure him.
Yeah, like
he could screw shot wide. He could do anything. Like it was a bit naive, and even then, still. Make your challenge. The timing of your challenge has to be better. Yeah. Like that was way too early. Like there was. I could see why he went in for the challenge because the ball was there to be won. But his challenge was all like.
I don't know if you do that.
But you know what though? Part of me is saying like, you've got to keep playing Bailly and Lindelof together. Like they have to play out of this because what other alternatives? We haven't got any good enough alternatives. Sorry, we haven't.
For me, and. Obviously, I'm not Jose Mourinho, but if players make mistakes, I think in the top level of football, I think you need to be kind of punished, and you need to like there's competition for places, isn't it? So I think me personally, I'll drop them both. Like, I'll drop them both. I'll bring in Smalling and Jones. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but
Smalling isn't good enough.
But like Bailly's better than you'd argue. But it's like, bro,
I would argue.
I can't just keep allowing him to play.
Smalling has made mistakes though, from January to May, and never got dropped once.
What was the alternative? It's probably because he's thinking Bailly's probably going to do more of that. I don't know, like, but it'd be interesting to see. But again, I think as bad as the defense were, like I say, like the goal from the corner or whatever, like that can happen. Like it can just drop someone. It's a tidy finish again. Like your man's buried it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that can happen. But like I say, for me, it was more so that it was how poor our attacking was. Like Martial, to be fair to him, obviously he got hooked off, but he didn't really get much of the ball, and it's like. Your players need to help him out. You know what I'm saying? He's not lucky now. He's going to sit on the bench. More times he's going to stay on the bench. You'd expect because he didn't do nothing, and it's like I don't think none of his teammates kind of helped him out by putting him in positions where he could threaten them. And when the one chance I think he got past them and like rapid like. But again, I thought. Like they're just our play. A lot of people get onto Alexis Sanchez, like how much he gives the ball away, but it's like I think he'd have done way better than all of them for me. Like,
but then what are we training on? Like week in, week out, what are we doing as a team? Like, fair enough, you can say if this is a one-off, the players had a very bad day, but this is a very talented group of players. Yes, we're lacking in some areas, but consistently, far too often, we play this badly, just probably without the defensive mistakes. So what the fuck have we been doing in training for so long?
For me, it's
not just this summer, because obviously we had issues this summer, but what have we been doing for this whole time? I can understand Mourinho being mad because the board haven't backed him, but I can't understand not getting more out of this team.
But he can't control Lindelof not being able to just keep it on.
He signed Lindelof, bro.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but
regardless of my opinion,
you think he's just gonna know what he's doing. He's just gonna sweep that up, and you just get done. And also, it's a class finish. Like them ones where you got punished. That's what happens in the Prem. Bailly, same thing. Bailly's got all the attributes. Like I think I said several times on here. Like Bailly for me is our best defender. But when you're acting like that, it's like.
Dia says they personally believe it was just a bad day.
We'll see against Spurs, isn't it?
Targayen says, I agree. What the fuck are we doing in training? Mr. DJ Unfit for Work says, I don't want Jose next season, but yesterday was a very bad day. Bay usually isn't that bad. I can understand why we put Fellaini and start playing long ball, says Dia. But that shouldn't be the only time we look good.
But again, it's like everyone was getting on.
So then what the fuck have we been doing in training? That's the point, isn't it? Like, that's the point.
But a lot of it's based on, obviously, man keeping the ball and being able to play the ball. And it's like, if players are not passing, if we're not passing the ball to each other and we're giving away the ball, you know what I'm saying?
So do you think the players still believe in Mourinho?
I don't know. Like, for me, he's the only winner there, really. Like, obviously, you'd argue Pogba's won the World Cup now, but
yeah, but even he apparently seemingly doesn't get on with him. He's another player that he's kind of alienated.
But at the same time, you're not doing good enough, bro. So it's like if you're like putting in like world class performances every week and like you're carrying the team, but then the team's still losing or something, then fair play to you. Like, you can talk, like, you know what I'm saying. But it's like at the moment you're not doing that. You're playing sick against Leicester. Again, I'm thinking Pogba's gonna come in here and absolutely just boss these men. How has Pogba not bossed Brighton? Like, you know what I'm saying? As the most.
So then, is there a problem with the mood in the camp?
I don't know. To me, it's like it's got to be mental or something. Like, I don't know. Like, because it's like we did it last season. It's like we just situations where we should just be sweeping teams aside. We'll lose or we'll just draw. And it's just like, again, for me, it's like I don't want to like start throwing it away already. But it's like the way the league's gone last season, you can't really lose many games. And if we're losing against Brighton, and there's probably 16 better teams in the league than Brighton, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like,
I did say that if we don't sign a centre half, which obviously we haven't done, in the transfer window, we wouldn't win the league. I obviously expected Bailly and Lindelof to be a lot better than that, but I do think that will come back to haunt us, and I do think Mourinho is right to feel aggrieved with the board not backing him, but at the same time, when you look at the signings he has made over the last couple of seasons, he's got a centre half partnership of Bailly and Lindelof that he bought, a midfield three, Matic, Fred, Pogba, he bought, Alexis Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku. So bar a right winger and two fullbacks, he signed everyone. He didn't need to sign a goalkeeper because he had the best goalkeeper in the world. Our football should be a lot better than it is. He can't always turn to the fact that we haven't made signings. That's why it's so confusing at the moment. There isn't one fix. Like, if you sack the manager, which I'm not suggesting we should do. If we sack the manager, there's still problems at this club. Regardless of who the manager is, there's still problems at this club. But I do think you've got to get more out of this team. It's just a real confusing time.
You would argue that, but again, it's like Pogba was Boston last week against Leicester, and it's like this week you're just pedestrian. It's like you've scored at the end. Fair play to you. There's a banging penalty as well, but you're just not done good enough. And you're the captain as well. And it's like, you know what I'm saying. I think being a captain, you kind of have to be your level has to be even more consistent and of a high level because you're supposed to set the bar. And like Keane, a lot of the time, kind of drew his respect for man. I think because it's like he was in the trenches as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's just pedestrian to the game. Like, he's like going hard. You know what I'm saying? And
it's frustrating to watch as well because it was so easy for Brighton. Romelu Lukaku didn't do anything against their defence. After a week after, Troy Deeney had given them a hell of a time.
This is what I'm saying.
Andre Gray. They used to be non-league players. We had Romelu Lukaku, who's one of the best strikers at the World Cup, and we didn't bother their back line.
But he didn't get no. This is the thing. It's like he got zero service. He's getting nothing. He's having to. I hate it. Like, I don't really like when Lukaku comes deep for the ball. Like, I can't stand it because to me it's like if we ever do with the ball and you're nowhere near the goal, and it's like he keeps coming deep and it's just nothing. It just doesn't work, man. Like our interplay between players is awful at times in terms of our passing accuracy and just it doesn't look like we actually know what we're doing. It just looks like we're waiting for someone to kind of think up a piece of class or just rattle one in for 30 yards, and it's not happening.
Do you think the tone was set for this in pre-season? Because Rude's Ghost comments didn't sell the underperforming players, signed players that didn't have the issues, no pre-season. I wasn't expecting a great beginning. Did you kind of expect this?
I think to be honest, the way the league's gone, I think regardless of how we play, I think we'd always have to. I think we just grind out the result. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think we'll have one of them. Sometimes we have a poor performance, but we'll win. And I anticipate us to do that at the start because now I think you have to win your first 6 games. I think like the way the league's gone, like you know what I'm saying. You could just form can blow teams away, and that's what City did last season. And that's what I thought we'd win, to be honest, but.
It's a sad time to be a Manchester United fan at the moment. It really is a sad time to be a Manchester United fan at the moment. And we're only 2 games in. We've got Tottenham Hotspur up next at Old Trafford. Raw Source says we didn't create a single chance. There's no cohesion in this team. We have no plan, says Junior. And I totally agree with that. But that comes from the manager. I also agree with the people that say we had a disappointing transfer window. And if you believe Jose Mourinho, that comes from the board. I also agree with people that say the players underperformed yesterday. And so right now you say you blame the result on the players, maybe the manager for his tactics and stuff. You blame Mourinho for kind of a negative atmosphere and also some of what's going on at the moment. Like we should be playing a lot better than we are. And you blame the board for their part of having this. It's a whole mishmash of things at the moment. Now you hear that we're going to get a director of football. Now that's being changed to we're going to get a technical director who's basically just a middleman between Mourinho and Woodward. Do you think this resolves anything? Or would it just paper over the cracks?
I think it's a bit... The only thing that can paper over any cracks is being successful in it. So I think obviously it looks like they're trying to do that. But to be honest, to me, everything's very reactionary and we're just reacting to this is what people are doing now, getting directors of football. Like, let's go get on really, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should never.
It's a bit. Yeah, that's what. It's kind of like Woodward saw Arsenal look to replace Wenger, get a director of football, sign a few players, move a manager around. You think he's playing that with?
Yeah, or it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's always like kind of delegating the perceived responsibility. So
Woodward worries me, you know.
He's only
his
interested
ego.
in he's commercially. That's what he's interested in, isn't it? Like. Do you like? I've saw images of him where they're saying he looks angry, and I'm thinking like, to be honest, they're rolling in the door, and it's like he's getting more deals done, and it's like, is he that bothered by like the performance on the pitch? He's said it previously that he's not performance on the pitch.
Memphis says, fact is Jose needs to leave right now. We can do it without him.
Who's gonna do? Who do we get? Like people talk about Jose out.
I don't think there is an obvious candidate, but I do think a different manager does things differently. But I don't know. That's what I mean. I don't think there's an obvious candidate. I'm not saying
I don't think there's.
We sack him. I think the problems are bigger than Mourinho. But I think Mourinho is definitely partly to blame for the way the team are performing.
Okay, as a prospective team,
if not mainly to blame for the way the team perform.
Maybe not. But
I don't think it's a maybe. A bad. Come on, you're saying that the manager doesn't have. This is what the people that say. That say you have to blame the players and the players underperform all the time. If players say that, then... Sorry, if you say that about the players, then you're basically saying the manager has no impact on what happened.
I don't like...
Look at the players we have got.
But that sounds... But it's like, yo, who do we get to replace him? I don't
Bro,
understand,
Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, Romelu Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez. But they are good enough, bro. You can't say they're not good enough. They are all good enough. They're all better than what they're showing right now, though.
There's a lot of players in world football, who've looked
Pogba's
good.
better than he's showing right now.
Yeah, but if you don't do it consistently, he's just not as good as...
The only players that perform under this manager are Ashley Young, Marouane Fellaini, and Romelu Lukaku, and David De Gea, because he'll perform under anybody. What other players can you truly say have delivered to their full potential under this manager? I
think Lingard's a shout. I know other people are going to say...
But Lingard again was playing like that for Van Gaal.
But he's done it more consistently. His stats and that have been better on the Jose.
But you would expect that as he's got older.
But you would expect that, yes, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously everyone expects everything on a positive trajectory. But in reality, like, there's some players who are sick at one time and they just flop. Like, who'd have thought, like, Jack Wilshere now a bit West Ham? You know what I'm saying? You man was compared to Iniesta at one point. If you said 10 years ago, Jack Wilshere is going to be at West Ham, you'd probably laugh. You know them ones, but look what's happened. Like, potential's one thing, innit? And I think Rashford, Martial, they all have it in abundance. But some players just... I'm not saying they're not going to go and flop, don't get it twisted, but at the same time, every single game is kind of them creating their history, and it's like, if they're not putting numbers up and they're not you know what I'm saying, as kind of ruthless as it sounds, if they're not doing that, you know what I'm saying, they're not as good as people think, and as good as technically you can be. I remember at one point, charisma was way better than Cristiano Ronaldo. You know what I'm saying? Look at what Ronaldo's done in his career though, and look at where charisma went. But it's like when you look at it, raw talent was. It's like charisma probably had a bit more than Ronaldo at that time, but look what happened to him. And I just think that. Well, again, I think there's still time for them to turn it around, but like we can't keep talking about look, you know what I'm saying? We've got these players, and we just anyone else would just get.
I think these players. I think a lot of these players have to be performing better, and I think ultimately, you've got to look to your managers to be bringing the best out of them. You can't be every player is shit. That can't be that is basically what people are saying, and that's why when people excuse Mourinho from blame, I find it daft. He cannot be excused from this. He cannot be. He has to be partly to blame. Yeah,
of course he has to take responsibility. Obviously, he's the manager.
But he doesn't though.
Because why? Because he doesn't say it in the news. Like
I don't feel like nothing ever changes.
Like, this is all my fault.
Nothing ever has anything. Nothing seems to change. That's what I feel like at the moment. We're doing the same thing over and over and over again. The same way we play football. The same way we do everything. We don't look like a team that has decided, you know what, we need to improve in doing this season. This is how we can improve on. Why didn't we score enough goals last season? Why didn't we get the best out of these players? Maybe this is how we improve things. It always seems to be the players' attitude's not good enough, or the players' shit, or the players' this, or the players' that. And I don't think that's always the case.
I think at times, obviously there's tactically, I think you could argue Mourinho has been wrong. I think Sevilla at home, I think he's wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was kind of a negative tactic. You know what I'm saying? Obviously we lose or whatever, but there has been times I think when he has been wrong. I just don't. At the same time, I just don't think he's been helped out by certain players. I think, like I say,
but then you got to ask why.
The players are maybe not as good as we think they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
But then,
he could be the
but they are good enough. A lot of these players are good enough.
By the looks of it, you know what I'm saying, in terms of their raw talent and that, yeah, but
I don't know, man.
It's what you put.
It's weird. It's just weird at the moment. I hate to feel like this second game into the season.
Who actually thought? Did anyone actually anticipate losing? I don't. Was it just me who just thought it was just a banker? Like, I don't know. Like,
I thought we were winning that game.
Even when at half time, I thought we were gonna come out and batter them. Like,
but we didn't.
That's a disappointing thing. Like, even if we'd just went out. To be honest, I'd rather lose 5-1 if we'd have actually gone out and just, you know what, allow this, we're just gonna put everyone up in it. Like, if we're gonna lose, because at the moment you can't lose games.
I think at the moment we've got a manager that is pissed off with the board, and as a result, he's taking it out on the team, and the team reflecting that on the pitch. There's always an excuse for something. That's what's pissing me off at the moment. Like, there's always an excuse for something. Doesn't seem to be any resolutions to what's going on. The board hasn't bought this, or this, or Liverpool and Man City have spent money, like, the media, and it's just full of excuses at the moment, man.
For me, he's just talking truth, and like, I think he's just stating obvious stuff, in it. Like, for me, like, I don't really read too much into it. I think, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if something like, if Mourinho kind of said to his players, like, to be honest, don't listen to nothing I say in the media, you know, them ones like...
Nah, I don't agree with that at all.
Smoke and mirrors, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's all everyone does it, innit? It's like, all players posturing in social media, it's like, any player in that, when it comes to contract negotiations, they're never going to put online or say in the media, like, yeah, I really want to stay at this club area, because it's like, if you start saying that, they're going to offer you low money, innit? Because if you really ain't going to leave, then obviously they're going to offer you pennies and that to stay. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, obviously they all play like, yeah, you know, I'm not too sure what I'm doing in my future. Look what you know what I'm saying, Griezmann did at Atletico. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna release where I'm going at 8 o'clock or whatever. Like, and it's like,
trying to be LeBron.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like they're all doing, but it's like they're all posturing in it. So me personally, I don't really read too much into the media, because it's all, you never know what the motivation for it is. But like, I don't know, man. I think obviously the way we're getting painted in the media doesn't help, because then the mood, like I say, prior to the game, the mood isn't great amongst the fans.
I think the negativity I don't know, man. I think a lot of, I don't know. It's just weird times. Weird times. I don't get it. Any comments to read out, or any questions on today's? To those people that mention Zidane, what do you think to that? Because I just think, you know what, like,
nah, man.
I think that Zidane stuff is like weird to me because Zidane hasn't got a team of superstars that he had at Real Madrid, and he finished third with them in the league. I think we've got to remember that, like what says he's going to be successful? Like, there is no people that just think he's going to come and be amazing because he's French and Pogba's French. I think it's weird.
Zidane's never managed in the Prem. I think just some managers coming from another league, just playing in the Prem, the first season, like, you don't even know what to expect. It's kind of what happened to Pep. Like, Pep come, he didn't know the games would be going certain ways, and obviously he did poor the first season.
We have had like a lot of, like, in the 6 years since Fergie, every manager you would define as a negative manager that we've had in it. Moyes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Van Gaal.
Basic. Yeah, I'd argue.
Mourinho's from the same school as Van Gaal.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Yeah, he is. Come on, bro. He's from that same school. He's maybe a progression of it. Even Guardiola's from that same school as Van Gaal, just a progression of it. Really and truly. All come from the, like, Cruyff school, you get me? All them men work together, bro.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't know, innit? I just think it's been a lot of negativity.
But I don't think Zidane's not the answer. For me, he's 100% not the answer.
Again, he's kind of like a...
But to me, it's like, if you're going to employ Zidane, I'd sooner go...
I'm not saying he's the answer. I don't get why people think he should be...
Obviously, he's an ex-player, and it's like, you know, look, everyone's...
Obviously, he's won 3 European Cups. You can't deny that.
Yeah, I'll take my hat off to me, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when he come in the first season, if he doesn't win the Champions League, he's not their manager next season. So it's like... And obviously then, once you've won the Champions League, you're the best team in Europe. I'm not saying obviously, like, no one at that point had won the Champions League back-to-back in it, but at the same time, you probably had one of the best teams in Europe in reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, Zidane wouldn't have one of the best teams in Europe coming to United. We just ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like, just
bring Cantona in. We'll get relegated.
But to me, that's what I'm saying. If people are talking about, I'll go get Zidane, I'd sooner have Giggs before him. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, bruv.
He's the same as him. He's like a club legend.
Zidane's already ahead of him because of the fact he's got 3 European Cups, bruv. You can't tell me Wales manager.
But he had to learn on the job. You know what I'm saying? If Madrid don't give him a chance,
if Ed Woodward is actually posturing to try and find a position where he can sack Mourinho, which is possibly what we are seeing at this moment in time.
He's not going to sack him. He's giving him
contract.
Why are you going to sack
contracts ain't worth the paper they're written on. If, like, this is what I'm saying, because look, he hasn't backed him. There's obviously some sort of rift between the board and the manager going on. Otherwise, your manager, you've just said it yourself, the manager uses the media to send messages out. He's coming out and sending messages to the board every single week. So if you're saying that, he said, Liverpool fans got carried away when Jose Mourinho said Liverpool are trying to buy the title, Man City are trying to buy the title. He wasn't talking about City when he said that. He was pointing at our board, saying, "You man ain't trying to buy the title." That's exactly what he was saying, and
that's what I'm saying. But at the same time, people need to understand that if we're not investing the same as what other people are doing, innit? Like, at the same time,
I think Woodward is possibly trying to posture for a position where he can just sack Mourinho.
I think I think Mourinho's just making it clear.
Woodward's ego is as big as Mourinho's, and that is a problem.
But he's got boss in it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you've only got certain purse strings you can work with. Edward's only got like certain purse strings you can work with. It's not like he's got this open checkbook and stuff. No, I ain't even allowing you to have that much. Bro, you're giving the owners are telling you, you know what I'm saying? This is what we want.
Jay says Zidane was able to outclass the likes of Allegri, Klopp, Simeone, Hanks. It's no fluke that he won 3 Champions Leagues.
You had Ronaldo in your team, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had Luka Modric, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had Sergio Ramos, you know what I'm saying?
What did Fergie say? What was Fergie's quote? Give me... Who was it? Someone on 10 round pegs and I'll win you a Champions League. Zidane.
But again, like, you've got like, look at even last time it's like Bale and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even think your man even started in the Champions League final, and it's like, your man just comes out and just scores one of the best goals ever, and it's like he'd have a massive team.
Someone wants to know, do you think Jose is still the man for Man United?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anyone more qualified to try and take on the mammoth challenge we have kind of got. Because at the same time, like, even now, like, the only reason why I'm kind of like so screwed about this, obviously I don't want us to lose, but it's because how high City have set the bar. But for me, the only person who can who would be able to potentially bridge that gap is Jose for me. I don't think there's another manager out there.
I don't think he can do it with these players, and I think, I don't know, man. I think he needs more from the board, and the board ain't backing him, and I think that's a recipe for disaster.
That's gone.
The only thing that's going to struggle as a result is the fans and the team. Oh, God. This could get really bad. Hopefully we beat Spurs, and it's just another sign of how inconsistent Manchester United have been in the last 6 years. But this could get worse before it gets better. That's for sure. It doesn't feel great. There's something going on. There's something going on at the moment. Something's afoot. Do you get that feeling?
This one, obviously, we've only played 2 games out of a 38-game season, and so in reality, it's like this could be in the long haul of the season. It's only 3 points, but it could just be a blip on the radar.
Does it show that Jose is a checkbook manager, like people say he is?
After 2 games, no. Like, to be honest, like
no, but after constantly complaining about what he can't sign.
I think a lot of that's just posturing. That's just what he says in the media. I think at the same time he knows we wasn't good enough on Sunday. And I think like a lot of what he says is just posturing in the media.
Fizzy says, if you guys lose to Spurs, then what? I don't think anything happens if we lose to Spurs.
Is that everyone's always sensationalized like I'm getting sacked, or you know what I'm saying? It's like every week we got to talk about it's time to go, and it's like even if we lose to Spurs, for me you don't look to go in it like, but we shouldn't.
United seem to have briefed the press that you got the vote of confidence.
Come on, man! Like, man shouldn't even be reacting to that. Like, I feel like, again, to me, you put more power to the rumours if you start saying something.
Solon Style says it's not based on 2 games; it's based on 2 years.
He comes second last year. You know what I'm saying? He won a couple of trophies the season before, and we finished second to a miles away City, but we're still the second best team in the league, innit? Like,
we finished second though. We maybe finished second because Liverpool focusing on Champions League a bit.
Yo, man, like if they didn't get the points on the board, and like we can say, because at the same time there's certain games we should have won, but I'm not sitting here saying, oh well, we'll be better.
Harvey says everybody calm the fuck down.
Yeah, that's.
I can't feel. I don't know. No. You know what it is though, yeah. It feels like we can't even talk about a title race no more, and that is not a position we should be in, because that is a fucking joke. We have got players that we should be challenging for the title with. I don't care if we need a fullback. We need this. We should be able to get more out of this team, and we're not. And it's fucking awful, man. It's fucking bad. And this negativity around the club just needs to stop. However it stops, it just needs to stop.
We just need to put good performances in it. Like I said, it's not beyond us to put in a good performance against Spurs in reality, innit? Like, the players themselves will be more up for a game against Spurs than Brighton. Like, it shouldn't be the case, but that's the reality of football.
Morgan blames the players for yesterday. I agree you blame the players for yesterday, but I think in football management, there's a lot of things that happen, obviously, around a game, before a game, leading up to a game, training, media, what you say behind closed doors, in front of the public. Like, there's a lot of things that contribute to performances. So I don't think it's just a simple case of the players didn't perform good enough. You have to ask yourself, why didn't the players perform good enough? Is it a tactical thing? A lot of players, people say, we should do 4-4-2, we should do this. I don't think it's a tactical thing at the moment. I genuinely, it's like, I don't think a formation changes it. I think it's like a spirit that we play with, a mood, a vibe. Like, we ain't got that vibe.
Yeah, no, I agree with that still. But I think at the same time as well, I haven't said it prior, but I think you have to take your hats off to Brighton, and like they did, they played quite well, to be honest. Like, and the thing that worries me the most is like these. But
really, Brighton on their best day shouldn't be able to beat us.
But they did.
Sean Coley says attitude reflects leadership. In my organisation as the leader, my feeling is even if I'm not to blame, I'm responsible. Jose has jacked up the players' attitudes with his man management.
Yeah, someone has a boss on it.
But what do you make of his point?
Yeah, that's true, innit? To me, but again, there's someone above Mourinho in it, like, so.
There's no vibe, says Hamem. Faizan says cheer up, we'll thrash Spurs. I don't know how. I think we might beat them, but I don't think we'll thrash them. Sahil says United stress me out too much.
True.
Sack Woodward says you're never going to get rid of Woodward. you may get someone that does the footballing side of things that he does. You're never going to get rid of him because the simple fact is he's good at what he does in terms of bringing money in and that. And that's all the Glazers give two shiny shits about.
But that's the thing as well, though. People need to understand, like, these men are running for profit, innit? Like, the United are ran for profit. Like, City ain't ran for profit, man. They're just there as a marketing tool or something, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
a country's play thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's different. It's a different ball game. Like, these men are looking to make it commercially. Like, what are Liverpool on as well? You know what I'm saying? It's like
is there any positivity?
Yeah, I'll say, like I say, it's one game out of 38, isn't it? It's 3 points. At the same time, we could, like, sometimes I think you do kind of need a setback to have kind of a major comeback. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
I don't feel like I wish I could be confident in the fact that United players, manager, coaching staff, like, got heated and angry about that.
Yeah, the thing,
like, it just feels like no one gives two fucks at the moment, man.
That's the thing that annoyed me in the game. It's like, at the end of the game, it's like none of the players ever look vexed, you get me? But it's like none of them look vexed. And it's like, to me, like I say,
so then that would suggest they don't give a fuck about the manager, bro. That is a problem.
Like, some players lose some of the biggest games of life, and it's like they're composing because it's like they're still in the public eye, and so they have to police themselves, and so sometimes I think that, but it's like, to me, I think you must be thinking, yo, if we've lost here, you get me, like, you know what I'm saying? City will absolutely put them to the sword. I'm telling you now, watch when they play.
They're gonna bang them about 6-7.
Yeah, and it'll be over by 20 minutes, innit? 20 minutes gone, the game's gonna be over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Liverpool, I hate to say it as well, but it's like they'll probably do the same thing. They'll put Salah will have a hat full of goals against them. You know them ones, and it's like we drop points. It's annoying, but yeah, like I say, in perspective, it's one game out of 30.
Pereira had a bad game, didn't he? Well, he didn't have a bad game as
I think he's
made glaring mistakes. He was just not really involved or impactful. And if you're a central midfielder, that's a difficult thing. But I think I identified before the game that maybe we needed to bulk up a little bit. Although I want to see Pereira, Fred and Pogba play.
Calling for Fellaini?
Nope.
He's the bulkiest player on the team.
But he's not a DM, bro.
He's not what?
He can't pass wind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You win headers and all that. No,
yeah, but then they're like, he's a target man.
He got us the penalty.
If anything, he should have come on for Lukaku. Or like, you know what? He came on in the right position. He came on for Martial, so he played wide and up top. He's not a midfielder. He should never be a midfielder. I don't think anyway. Tesso thinks off there at the office. Conte to take over. So like, we need positivity, and you want to bring in Conte? You fucking nuts. Would you say we trot too much instead of making runs? There's no intensity in any of our play,
but
and that's a problem.
That wasn't the case against Leicester, though. There was so much movement. Like I said, I think you do have to kind of give some credit to Brighton, and I think
I'll be honest, man. I feel down.
Yeah, nah, it's bad. You get me? Like, that's what I'm saying to me. But it can be all turned around. The opportunity is there, and against Spurs, if you put on a good performance against them at home, you know what I'm saying? You'd hope we get 3 points on it.
Floss says the players aren't playing for Mourinho. John, my cousin, says, and he's a neutral. Players are trying to get managers sacked. No player is coming out saying the manager is the best manager out there. I don't think that is relevant, but I think his point is.
But people are saying this, innit? But it's like with Pogba, for example. If you've already been at United, yeah, and you know Mourinho's going there, you obviously know players who's playing under Mourinho. So you spoke to, because if you just in a normal
but things.
Like, yo, what's he like?
No, but this is now. That was 2 years ago.
Okay, then fair play. So that's a couple of years ago. But then Lukaku's talking about coming. The summer Lukaku came, who's with Pogba the whole summer.
Have you noticed though now that Lukaku and Pogba ain't really?
Yeah, I think it's a management thing because your man left Raiola in it. I think he went to Rock Nation in it.
Yeah.
Lukaku did a lot for his management. But it's like at the same time though, the summer before he came, he was with Pogba all the time in America, and it's like obviously if you probably knew he was going to United then, and it's like you said, what's Mourinho saying? He was under Mourinho, innit? You know what I'm saying? Like, he was under him before, but he's like, what was he saying last season? Because again, and it's like people say that it's like, oh, he fell out with Lukaku when he was younger, bro. He re-signed him. If he fell out with him, why would he re-sign? Like, he'd just be thinking this geezer's an idiot.
But I think Lukaku is someone that buys into what Mourinho does. I don't think. I think with free-spirited players such as Pogba, I think you need to have a different style of management with them. And I don't think this is what I think ultimately will be Mourinho's problem. I don't think he's flexible enough in his man management style with players. I don't think he treats X different to Y different to Z. I don't think he sees the need for that. Whereas I think
we don't know them. Like I think
that's from outside looking in.
I hear that.
But that's how I feel.
But it's a lot of speculation in terms of we don't actually see, like I say, like.
But brother, he's lost the dressing room in a lot of places.
Is there any proof of that? Like,
but yes, there is, bro.
It could be a blip on a radar. You know what I'm saying? If we lose, like, if we go and put Spurs to the sword.
Ultimately, like potentially, the past could be repeating itself, and I think that's why United fans are scared.
Yeah. Obviously, it's early. Like I say, you're losing.
It's early, yeah. We could go on a game. We could win the next 10 games.
First 2 games. Come on, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need to. Watford have won their first 2 games. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. Watford beat them last week. You know them ones. It's like, yo, it's a proper. Like,
Deeney was rattling them as well.
This is what I'm saying, and it's like we got Lukaku, probably the best striker of the World Cup in my opinion. Obviously, he did have a lack of service, but we're not. The goalkeeper, is getting me vexed. Their goalkeeper's getting me vexed. And he's making some saves and making all these gestures after, because it's like, bro, you're whack here, and we're making you look good. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we got the second goal right at the end, but we should be putting bag full of goals past my man on it. Like, and he's there trying to look slick and that, and it's just
Wow. This has been the aftermath, guys. I don't know what we didn't really settle on anything, but we can kind of say is where we're at the moment, innit? Like, everything's just up in the air. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're sharing, subscribing, commenting, etc. We're going to be doing another straight up podcast this week, and you can subscribe. The link is in the description below. Also, get your thoughts in on the game, on what you think the issues are at Manchester United. Make sure you follow Dean at @_it's_D on Twitter. Follow straight up as well. And yeah, final thoughts, Dean, before we go.
I'm trying to stay positive in it, so
we're trying.
That's all we can do in it. Like, hopefully, like I say, hopefully we turn things around in it. I can only hope, because I can't even foresee
if we lose against Spurs. It's gonna be
bad. The atmosphere amongst fans is going to be a mad place.
Anyway, guys, try and keep positive. We're out of here.